Hello and welcome, Lanita Ellis, the Scrappy Grandma here. And this is our weekly Bible reading pod playlist. And we have a double portion this week, just like last week. Um, it is 29 and 30, weeks 29 and 30. And I'm kind of catching up because of the Passover week or leavened bread week. So this is, I have no idea how to pronounce it, but Achama, Acharei, Acharei Mot, that, anyway, and that means after the death, and Kedoshim, which means Holy One. So, before I begin, Father God, thank you so much for this time. Thank you for the call. Thank you for those that are watching. Thank you for those that have heeded your call to walk in covenant with you and to obey your commands. Father, teach us as we go through your word. Help me to just share your word and help it to come alive. It's your spirit that brings your word alive. Thank you so much for giving us this word. You are so wonderful to us, so compassionate, so thoughtful, such a good provider. Bless everyone who hears it and help me to not speak anything that's not of you. In Yeshua's name, amen. All right. So, ach, I don't know if it's just Acharei. Anyway, and it's Mot Kodesh, Leviticus 16:1 through 20:27. The 29th and 30th Torah readings emphasize atonement, holiness, and ethical living as defining characters of a people set apart for God. Acharei, Acharei, I should have looked it up, the pronunciation. But anyway, and Mot, after the death, begins with instructions for the Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. The Day of Atonement service following the death of Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu. The high priest performs rituals to atone for the sins of the entire community, including the scapegoat ritual, and the portion reiterates prohibitions against consuming blood, the laws on moral conduct. Kodashim means holy ones, often called the Holiness Code, expands on how the Israelites are to live as a holy nation. It includes some of the Torah's most iconic commandments, such as loving one's neighbor as oneself, honoring parents, caring for the needy, conducting business fairly, rejecting idolatry, and avoiding sexual immorality. These readings emphasize that holiness is achieved not only through rituals, but also through ethical behavior and social responsibility, showing that closeness to God requires purity, justice, and kindness in all aspects of life. Together, Acharei, Mot, and Kodeshim underline the connection between atonement, sacred living, and reflecting God's divine character in everyday interactions. Wow, this is getting it's making it real. This isn't just, oh, these are the things we need to do, and now it's like one of the agape love songs. Um, it's about the cost of being a disciple, and it talks about where we go and what we eat and what we wear, and it's all about that. And so this is going to be fun to get into this. Oh, hot. Sorry. Quick update. I went on a road trip, and it was interesting and fascinating, and I'm still unpacking everything that the Father showed me during the time away from home, and how wonderful it was to get back home. Um, you can tell probably tell I picked up something, which he showed me this morning. Hmm. So, uh, Yeah, I got it. This has to go here. I've got the other playlist that I do that's, it was all about my dad, but now it's just continuing life after and just basically, walk, doing my best to walk the way that the word says to walk. But this goes with the portions here hugely. So, last year, year before, right around this time, I'm sure, is when he started teaching me about Lashon Hara, and which is evil speech. It's gossip and slander and tale-bearing and lying, and it's evil, and it brings a spiritual rot, and that can also create a physical ailment, which they called zarat, but and then it was translated to leprosy, but it's not the leprosy that exists today. It's not the same thing as that leprosy. It's the Father revealed it, and how much still how we behave and how we speak and the things that come out of our mouth can bring physical rot as well as spiritual rot on us. So he taught me a real life in it hard lesson, um, in which I'm in deep repentance and horribly remorseful. Brought me low on this one. Um, and not to, so in my trip, I went and spent time with my loved ones, people that, on a regular basis, I've gone up and spent time with them, or they come here and spend time with me, my auntie, um, and then my friend Gina, who was estranged for 20 years and just reconnected last year, year before. Everything's kind of melted in together. And then was going to be going with my girlfriend Shell, who also, there's a pattern here, was estranged for 20 years. And the father reconciled that relationship a few years ago, several years ago now. And I'm thinking, because, yeah, so time's flying. Anyway, I'm supposed to spend some time with Shell. I've got a Michelle friend and a Shell friend, and everyone gets them confused when I'm speaking of them. So my friend Shell, I was going to go and spend some time with her. We were going to be going to an exhibit of the Wilderness Tabernacle, which I did go to, and it was interesting. Great visual ish. And then end up at my sister's house up in Roseville. So I made it up to my auntie's, and then we drove up. She does paint night. I made a painting, and I don't hate it, which is unusual. Anyway, so um, we went up and visited on the way. Now, visited in a way that I have visited my entire life. So, but the father really broke it down. And there were several parts of the conversation that were just completely unnecessary and Lashon Hara. And it's simple and innocent and easy and what we've always known. And so in conversations with my auntie, it was catching up. Well, how's so and so doing? Well, how's so and so doing? How's so and so doing? How's so and so doing? And the father revealed to me that I have a bad habit of revealing things about people that they may not want revealed. I'm uncovering their nakedness. And my friend Angelina, she did a really great story that had like you have a pillow full of feathers, and you go up onto a mountaintop and you toss the feathers out. Those are the words coming out of our mouths. And if we find out that they're damaging or negative, just even negative in any way, how are we going to go grab all of those feathers back? You'll never be able to. Same thing, you can't pull back what you've put out. Um, and so he just really walked me through how just sharing how someone else is doing with someone else that may have an opinion or pick up an offense. Not that there's anything, not pick up an offense, or pass judgment on someone else that they aren't even close with or don't even know, or that they know, but for something that passed through my lips that was in no way meaning for someone to be judged. Just that's how we share, and like, anyway, whew, lots of repentance going on there and then especially now with atonement, the Day of Atonement, and I was reading it today on that, and just how, and it's for, I mean, Lashon Hara is like the most serious infraction, because you are spreading a wildfire, because so and so is going to tell so and so and so and so, the old commercial back in the 80s, which a lot of you may not even have been around then. Um, but it's, you tell two friends, they tell two, and it goes and it just covers. And so, but the Day of Atonement even atones for the very worst. And that's why it's so serious that it's carried out the way it's carried out. And just, he broke down a lot for me today in this portion, well, this past week, and just paying attention, and now having to do serious course correction. And I made it sound like it's so horrible, but this is the point. It's not horrible. You're just, how you get together and you just share. Well, so and so, oh yeah, they're kind of going through this, or they're having a hard time there. That's nobody else's business. So my goal is to really work on, when someone asks me about someone else, they're doing great, and I'm going to share only every positive thing that's happening in these people's lives. None of the negative stuff that's happening in these people's lives, because it doesn't need. The Father reveals to me things, or people reveal to me things, so that I can intercede. I can be the second witness to our intercessor, the Messiah, on their behalf. That's why it's revealed, not to go and fill other people in. And like I said, it's this. It's not like I, said horrible things about anybody. It's just I shared maybe more than anyone would want out from between me and them. And and I'm taking it serious because it is. And interestingly enough, the very first night, very first morning, I woke up, and I woke up with this, and I was heading to Gina's, and let her know, hey, got a bug. Just letting you know. Okay, you can back out. I can go home. And she's like, no, go ahead and come anyway. And so I went to her house, and then um, my friend Shell, she lives with her parents, and doesn't want any extra bugs coming to her house, and I completely understand. And my sister Danielle also, you know, they've got jobs, they've got responsibilities, they can't, and they've got the grandbaby, they can't have stray bugs coming into their house. So I spent the whole rest of the time with Gina. We went to the exhibition. I'll be sharing all this over. It was great. Um, but and thankfully Bina, my friend Gina Bina, um, had all the things. I mean, she had honey infused garlic cloves and oil of oregano and tinctures, and for respiratory mullein, the whole, it was like being at home. Literally, it was like, it was better than being at home, because she had new things and her things and better things. And so it was very inspiring also. We inspire one another beautifully. So, okay. But I just wanted to share that we need to really guard our gates and what comes out of here, even if we're just, don't be a talebearer. And that's what the Father said. You're being a talebearer. You're bearing tales. You're telling a story. You're sharing, but you're sharing other people's information. And if you're going to share other people's information, let it be blessings and life that come out of your mouth, not cursings and death. So, anyway, I hope you understand. Anyway, moving in, because it is perfect. So, let's go ahead and share. It's right the same time of all of this. So, I'm going to share that and do all the goofy changes that I have to make. I'm sure there's a much easier way to do all this. Just don't know it. That's where my tissue went. Okay, so we are in Leviticus, and it is 6:1 through 2027. So we are 6:1, the Day of Atonement. This is good. Adonai spoke with Moshe after the death of Aaron's two sons, when they tried to sacrifice before Adonai and died. Learned some interesting things there too. Um, that they may have entered the Holy of Holies, possibly intoxicated with incense that wasn't authorized to be in the Holy of Holies. Did some reading on that. It was very fascinating. Adonai said to Moshe, tell your brother Aaron not to come at just any time, and so here, this is where we get into it, into the holy place beyond the curtain. So remember, after they passed, after they died, the first thing he went straight into is don't come into your priestly service time drinking wine or intoxicated. And now he's saying another, you know, rule for entering into the Holy of Holies is, or entering into the holy place. I'm sorry, entering into the holy place. And to your priestly service, here's another rule just to keep things pure and holy. And so tell your brother Aaron not to just come at any time into the holy place beyond the curtain in front of the ark cover, which is on the ark. That's the Holy of Holies. You know, you can't just go in there anytime. There's going to be prescribed, it has to go down to the detail. He's into details. So that he will not die, because I appear in the cloud over the ark cover. And I started thinking about that, because he's supposed to take incense in, which we'll read about, and it has to cover the ark cover, and then he is, there in the incense over the ark cover. Just try to picture this. Here is how Aaron is to enter the holy place with a young bull as a sin offering and a ram as a burnt offering. He is to put on the holy linen tunic. So this is where he has his second attire. It's pure linen. Have the linen shorts next to his bare flesh. So no skirt, keeps himself covered. Have the linen sash around him and wear the linen turban. These are the holy garments. He is to bathe his body in water and put them on. He is to take from the community of people of Israel 2 male goats for a sin offering and one ram for a burnt offering. Aaron is to present the bull for the sin offering, which is for himself. Okay, so he's got to go do his sin offering for himself first. So he's clean to go and do the rest of them. He is to take the 2 goats and place them before Adonai at the entrance of the tent of meeting. This is where it's cool seeing the exhibition, because now in my head, when it says take the 2 goats and place them at the entrance of the tent of meeting, I know where that's at now. I can visualize it. I've seen pictures, but this was life size, so I could go and actually see pictures. I'm sorry, see it in person. So, and then Aaron is to cast lots for the 2 goats, one lot for Adonai and the other for Azazel. If any of you have more information about casting lots, something I want to look into. I've heard that it's the Urim and the Thummim and whatever those are. Some say they're stones, some say they're parchment, but it's what's kept in the pocket part of the ephod, not the ephod, the breastplate, or is it ephod? Might be ephod. No, the breastplate, because it's folded in half. And anyway, that basically tells them Yah's will. So, which I always find interesting, because it's, to me, that's divining, which then creates in my mind that I have to be open to the things that the church has taught me to be closed to, because he's so much bigger than my small brain can figure out. So Aaron is to present the goat whose lot fell to Adonai and offer it as a sin offering. But the goat whose lot fell to Azazel is to be presented alive to Adonai, to be used for making atonement over it by sending it away into the desert. Aaron is to present the bull of the sin offering for himself. He's to make atonement for himself and his household. So this bull makes atonement for all of Aaron's descendants. He is to slaughter the bull of a sin offering, which is for himself. He is to take a censer full of burning coals from the altar before Adonai with his hands full of ground fragrant incense and bring it inside the curtain. So that's probably the censer that carried the coals in the censer, because I was reading in another that it was a shovel, but that I'm thinking that could fall off. So, but the censer makes sense. Shovel it into a censer. Let me know if anyone knows anything about that. That'd be interesting to learn more about. Bring it inside the curtain. He is to put the incense on the fire before Adonai, so that the cloud from the incense will cover the ark cover, which is over the testimony, the 10 Commandments inside, in order that he not die. He is to take some of the bull's blood and sprinkle it with his finger on the ark cover towards the east. Once again, being at the exhibition, now I know which side's the east side, which is awesome. And yeah, the entrance. And in front of the ark cover, he is to sprinkle some of the blood with his finger 7 times. Next, he is to slaughter the goat of the sin offering, which is for the people. Bring the blood inside the curtain and do with its blood as he did with the bull's blood, sprinkling it on the ark cover and in front of the ark cover. He will make atonement for the holy place because of the uncleanness of the people of Israel, and because of their transgressions, all their sins. He is to do the same for the tent of meeting, which is there with them right in the middle of their uncleanness. Wait, I'm going to go back. He is to make atonement for the holy place because of the uncleanness of the people of Israel and because of their transgressions. Okay, so make atonement. So, but he's cleansing the holy place, making the atonement for the holy place because there's uncleanness. Okay, all of their sins. And he is to do the same for the tent of meeting, which is there with them right in the middle of their uncleanness. So the holy place and then the tent. Okay. So no one is to be present in the tent of meeting from the time he enters the holy place to make atonement until the time he comes out, having made atonement for himself, for his household, and for the entire community of Israel. Then he is to go out to the altar that is before Adonai and make atonement for it. Okay, so now he's making atonement for all the things. He is to take some of the bull's blood and some of the goat's blood and put it on the horns. Okay, so he's making atonement for the altar where things are being killed. He is to sprinkle some of the blood on it with his finger 7 times, thus purifying it, setting it apart from the uncleanness of the people of Israel. When he's finished atoning for the holy place, the tent of meeting, and the altar, he is to present the live goat. Okay, so and I was reading that like these goats had to be pretty much identical, like twins. And the one he offers up, the other is what where the name scapegoat came from. Aaron is to lay both hands on the head of the live goat and confess over it all the transgressions, crimes, sins of the people of Israel, and he is to put them on the head of the goat and then send it away into the desert with a man appointed for the purpose. Always interesting. What does that mean, appointed for the purpose? The father must appoint him. He's the one to take the goat out and make sure. There's some things that I've heard. Here, basically all I ever read in here is it's to go, okay, right here, the goat will bear all of its transgressions away to some isolated place, and he is to let the goat go in the desert. That's what I've read. Let the goat go in the desert. Then it became where I heard that the goat would wander back into camp, and they all got freaked out because their sin returned via the goat that it left with. And so then they started a tradition of throwing the goat off of a cliff so that it could not return. So don't know if that's, truth or not, but I know that it did become tradition for them to throw the goat off of a cliff which I've never read anywhere. And maybe it's in one of the extra biblical books where he commanded the goat to be thrown off a cliff. But every Bible I've read, it just says, let him go out in the desert. Aaron is to go back into the tent of meeting where he is to remove the linen garments. He does several changes this day. He's to remove the linen garments he puts on when he enters the holy place, and he is to leave them there. And, these are white linen or light linen, And I was thinking of all the blood that's getting on his clothes, especially when you're sprinkling. You're going to get spots of blood on you. Anyway, then he's to bathe his body in water in a holy place, put on other clothes, come out and offer his other clothes, which is his other priestly garments with all the other things on it, not just the linen. He's to come out and offer his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people, thus making atonement for himself and for the people. I have to look and see if this is like the daily burnt offering. He is to make the fat of the skin offering go up in smoke on the altar. The man who lets the goat for Azazel, the man who let go the goat for Azazel, is to wash his clothes and bathe his body in water. Afterwards, he may return to camp. The bull for the sin offering and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought in to make atonement in the holy place, is to be carried outside the camp, where they are to be burned up completely, their hides, meat, and dung. The person burning them is to wash his clothes, bathe his body in water, and afterwards he may return to the camp. It is to be a permanent regulation for you that on the 10th day of the 7th month you are to deny yourselves and not do any kind of work, both the citizen and the foreigner living living with you. So this is Day of Atonement, and a tradition is to fast, to afflict your body, to deny yourself. So for on this day, atonement will be made for you to purify you. You will be clean before Adonai from all your sins. Now, most of these holy days, holidays, feasts, festivals, biblical festivals, can't be done correctly because we don't have the temple. We don't have all of the things that it mentions and are required in here. And then why do them? And I just watched a really good thing about counting of the Omar. I'll share that. But why do them? Well, one, they teach us his ways. It's a yearly reminder as we prepare for them, as we go through them, and then we learn what we learn, and then we start preparing for the next one, like we are right now in counting of the Omar, preparing for Shavuot, Day of Pentecost. It's a constant reminder, and then like counting of the Omar, that's supposed to be done between Passover and Pentecost, is a daily of working on practicing, and that's what it all comes down to: working on practicing, putting on his character, his attributes, and I'm sorry. Dying to self and becoming more like him, walking in the way, doing the things. And so why do them? No, we can't do them perfectly. We can't do them the way that they were intended to be done, but we do them to practice and to constantly, the word says that we're to, think of his ways when we get up, when we lie down, when we go out, when we go for walks, when we're with our families. We're supposed to be thinking of his ways. And how do you do that? It's by immersing yourself in his ways and learning his ways and learning his dates and his cycles. Oh my gosh, his cycles are just amazing. And you get to do it year after year. And wow, how much further did I come from last year? In this last year, how much did I practice and learn from what I learned last year at the same time? It's beautiful. Keeping journals really helps to keep that, on track too. But why keep them a practice? For me, for us, it's a practice to be more like him and doing things his ways. So anyway, got off on a tangent there. It is a Shabbat of complete rest for you, and you are to deny yourselves. This is a permanent regulation. So many people, like I said, they fast. The Kohen anointed and consecrated to be Kohen priest in his father's place will make atonement, but he will put on the linen garments. He will put on the linen garments, the holy garments. He will make atonement for the especially holy place, the Holy of Holies. He will make atonement for the tent of meeting and the altar. And he will make atonement for the Kohanim, the other priests, and for all the people in the community. This is a permanent regulation for you to make atonement for the people of Israel because of all their sins once a year. Moshe did as Adonai had ordered him. 17. Adonai said to Moshe, "Speak to Aaron and his sons and to all the people of Israel and tell them that this is what Adonai has ordered. When someone from the community of Israel slaughters an ox, lamb, or goat inside or outside of the camp, without bringing it to the entrance of the tent of meeting, is to present an offering to Adonai before the tabernacle of Adonai, he is to be charged with blood. He has shed blood, and that person is to be cut off from the people." I interpreted it as a couple years ago as like, oh my gosh, we can't kill animals anywhere because I can't take it to the temple. I mean, but people who lived a long ways away would not be able to take it to the temple. But from what I'm understanding here, if when someone of the well, and it could still be that when someone from the community of Israel slaughters an ox, lamb, or goat inside the camp or outside the camp without bringing it to the entrance of the tent of meeting. And I don't know if this was supposed to intentionally a sacrifice. I'll have to ask my friend Lisa if this was intentionally a sacrifice, animals for sacrifice, or if this is like period, like you can't have a barbecue at your house without presenting it. So that's something, if anybody knows, let me know that, and I'll talk to Lisa. Without bringing it to the entrance of the tent of meeting to present it as an offering as Adonai before the tabernacle of Adonai. He is to be charged with blood. He has shed blood, and that person is to be cut off from his people, which is certain death, because community was life back then. Sadly, that's something we don't have as much now. The reason for this is so that people of Israel will bring their sacrifices that they sacrifice out in the field, so that they will bring them to Adonai to the entrance of the tent of meeting, to the Kohen, and sacrifice them as peace offerings to Adonai. The Kohen will splash blood against the altar of Adonai at the entrance of the tent of meeting and make the fat go up in smoke as a pleasing aroma for Adonai. No longer will they offer sacrifices to goat demons before whom they prostituted themselves. This is a permanent regulation for all of them throughout the generations. Maybe what they're seeing here is because what the practice was is when they would kill things, they would offer them up to other gods and demons. And maybe if it's a sacrifice, then they've got to bring it to the tabernacle and present it to the living God. Just my. Also, tell them, when someone from the community of Israel or one of the foreigners living with you offers a burnt offering or sacrifice without bringing it to the entrance. Okay, so they're offering a burnt offering or a sacrifice, not just, I butchered my chicken and I need to eat dinner, because I just couldn't understand taking it all the way and then coming back. So this is coming more together here. Without bringing it to the entrance of the tent of meeting to sacrifice it to Adonai, that person is to be cut off from his people. So if they are out slaughtering an animal, offering up to Adonai, but out in the field, then they're doing as the pagans did. All the other, nations around them. I hate to say pagans. That was rude. Sorry, because there are pagans still to this day. And I didn't mean it like that. So doing it like the other nations that are not Israel. That's what they did. And there's no mixture. He doesn't want it being done like they did. So when someone from the community of Israel or one of the foreigners living with you eats any kind of blood, I will set myself against that person who eats blood and cut him off from his people. For the life of a creature is in the blood, and I have given it to you on the altar to make atonement for yourself, for it is the blood that makes atonement because of the life for life. This is why I told people of Israel, none of you is to eat blood, nor is any foreigner living with you to eat blood. When someone from the community of Israel or one of the foreigners living with you hunts and catches game, whether animal or bird, that may be eaten, he is to pour out its blood and cover it with the earth. And that's something we started doing with our chickens when we butcher our chickens. For the life of every creature, its blood is its life. Therefore, I said to the people of Israel, you are not to eat the blood of any creature, because of the life of every creature is its blood. Whoever eats it will be cut off. Anyone eating an animal that dies naturally or is torn to death by wild animals, whether he is a citizen or a foreigner, is to wash his clothes, bathe himself in water, and he will be unclean until evening. So if something naturally died, I don't know. Like my chickens die. I'm not sure if it was natural or not, if it was something that was wrong. I'm not eating it. Um, something torn to death by wild animals. See, to me, that's ew, but when food was scarce. Anyway, and so they just have to wash themselves because they've been doing dirty work. But if he doesn't wash them or bathe his body, he will bear the consequences of his wrongdoing. 18. Adonai said to Moshe, speak to the people of Israel and tell them, I am Adonai your God. You are not to engage in the activities found in the land of Egypt, where, see, here we go. You're not to engage in these activities that you learned, the 400 years that you were there when you used to live. You are not to engage in the activities found in the land of Canaan, where I'm bringing you, nor are you to live by their laws. So see, he's just like, be set apart, be holy, be set apart from all of the nations around you. And it's not as so much as a good and bad, it's a mixture. Stay true to me. Don't pay attention to what they're all doing out there. Don't judge what they're doing out there unless I, tell you, something, or tell you to, but don't judge. Don't let the nations be the nations. That's for him to deal with. We focus on him. We are set apart unto him. We live for him and not the way that the world does for for themselves. Um, you are to obey my rulings and laws and live accordingly. I am Adonai your God. You are to observe my laws and rulings, and if a person does them, he will have life through them. I am Adonai. And let me tell you, I have never had, life's always hard. My life has always been hard. And man, but doing things his way, there's this underlying peace and grounding that helps you to endure hard instead of this chaotic, wild life and then trying to do hard on top of that. That's where, you know, it gets impossible. And then usually that's when we cry out and then he helps us. And then, yeah. Anyway, um, you are to observe my laws and rulings, and if a person does them, he will have life through them. My life has never been more complete and peaceful and grounded since I started doing things his way. None of you is to approach anyone who is a close relative in order to have sexual relations. I am Adonai. You are not to have sexual relations with your father. You are not to have sexual relations with your mother. She is your mother. Do not have sexual relations with her. You are not to have sexual relationships with your father's wife. That is your father's prerogative. You are not to have sexual relationships with your sister, the daughter of your father, or the daughter of your mother, whether born at home or elsewhere. Do not have sexual relations with them. You are not to have sexual relationship with your son's daughter or with your daughter's daughter. Do not have sexual relationship with them because of their sexual disgrace will be your own. Okay, so he just told up here, don't do things the way Egypt did it and don't do things the way Canaan does it. And then he goes straight into all of these, don't do these things. So I'm assuming that these are the things that are common practice with the nations. And they've been immersed in this for 400 years. And now he's like, okay, you did it because you didn't know, but now you know these are here's the boundaries. Here's the boundaries. And it's not like they didn't know these boundaries at one time, and some of them may have even kept these boundaries up, but um, they had been immersed in a different culture. Like we here in America are immersed in our American culture and do traditions and practices that we've been taught since birth, that have been part of the fabric of our nation for all, that's all we know. And this is what these people, this is all they know. And so, no, it's like, no, I want you to be different. I want you to stand apart. I want you to be mine, solely mine. And so, this is how we become solely His. Do we have to? No, we don't have to be His. We don't have to do these things. But if we want to, that's why it said, this is the holiness, and that's exactly what, Kedoshim means, holy ones. If you want to be walking in covenant with Him and one of His holy ones, then yeah, here are boundaries. Our instructions. You're not to have sexual relationship with your father's wife's daughter, born to your father because she is your sister. Do not have sexual relationship with her. You are not to have sexual relationship with your father's sister because she is your father's close relative. You're not to have sexual relationship with your mother's sister because she's your mother's close relative. You are not to disgrace your father's brother by having sexual with his wife because she is not. And the thing is here, they had communal collective honor and communal collective shame. That's something we don't doesn't exist in our world anymore, unfortunately. But they they lived for that. They wanted to honor their family, and they did not want to dishonor their family. Nowadays, who cares? Nobody cares. Um, it's all out for yourself, live yourself. Who cares what it does to your family name? So you are not to have sexual relation with your daughter-in-law because she's your son's wife. Do not have sexual relations with her. You're not to have sexual relationship with your brother's wife because that's your brother's prerogative. You are not to have sexual relationship with both a woman and her daughter, nor are you to have sexual relations with her son's daughters or her daughter's daughter. They are close relatives of hers, and it would be shameful. You are not to take a woman to be a rival with her sister and have sexual relationship while her sister is still alive. You are not to approach a woman in order to have sexual relationship with her when she is unclean from her time of nidah. Nidah is when she's on her monthly cycle and she's actually menstruating. You are not to go to bed with your neighbor's wife and thus become unclean with her. You are not to let any of your children be sacrificed to Molech. This was a common practice, still happening today, unfortunately. So with Moloch, they wanted a good harvest, wanted good crops, wanted prosperity. They would sacrifice their children for that. Now, today, a lot of people do the same. They are not ready yet. They're not ready to be tied down. They don't want to jeopardize their job, and they still offer the children up as sacrifices. So it's still practiced, and we're not to be of this way. That's of the world. We're not supposed to do that. Be holy. Be as holy ones. You are not to go to bed with a man with with a man as a woman. It is an abomination. You are not to have sexual relationship with any kind of animals and thus become unclean with it. Nor is any woman to present herself to an animal to have sexual relations with it. It is a perversion. Do not make for yourself, do not make yourselves unclean by any of these things, because all the nations which I'm expelling ahead of you are defiled with them. Okay, so yes, they're just answering. This is what they were all doing. Let's not do those things. Let's be different. Let's be set apart. The land has become unclean, and this is why I'm punishing it. The land itself will vomit out its inhabitants. But if you keep my laws and my rulings and do not engage in any of these disgusting practices, neither the citizen nor the foreigner with you, the Gentiles that are grafted in and obey his ways. For the people of the land have committed all of these abominations, and the land is now defiled. And boy, isn't that where we're at now? I just, on my road trip, I was just really observing all of, I live in beautiful country, California foothills, beautiful green grass and wildflowers and animals, and it's gorgeous. And over the past couple of years, I just see it groaning with just being poisoned and toxic, and just everything that we humans are doing to it now. Um, just how it's groaning, and they will vomit you out of the land. Um, for the people of the land have committed all of these abominations, and the land is now defiled, and all the innocent people. I mean, that's one of the things that makes the earth cry out for the blood of the innocent, is all the innocent blood that's shed across the globe. So, if you make the land unclean, it will vomit you out too, just as it vomiting out the nation that was there before you. For those of you who engage in any of these disgusting practices, whoever they may be, will be cut off from their people. So keep my charge and not to follow any of these abominable customs that others before you have followed, and thus defile yourself by doing them. I am Adonai your God. 19. Adonai said to Moshe, speak to the entire community of Israel and tell them, the people are to be holy because I, Adonai your God, am holy. Every one of you is to revere his father and his mother, and you are to keep my Sabbath. I am Adonai your God. Do not turn to idols. Do not cast metal gods for yourself. I am Adonai your God. When you offer a sacrifice of peace offering to Adonai, offer it in the way that will make you accepted. Do it as he prescribed, as he detailed out. It is to be eaten the same day you offer it, and the following day. But if any of it remains until the third day, it's to be burned up completely. If any of it's to be eaten on the third day, it will become a disgusting thing and will not be acceptable. Well, I don't know that I would be eating meat that's been left out for 3 days without refrigeration. I think that's just a bad idea. So, moreover, everyone who eats it will bear the consequence of profaning something holy meant for Adonai. That person will be cut off from his people. See, it's just a loving parent saying, don't do that. You'll pay for it. Don't do that. You're really going to pay for that one. And not by him, but natural, eating meat that's been sitting out for 3 days is going to make you sick. And yeah, that's one of the things he's really impressing upon me is everything we ingest affects the temple. And so we need to really start guarding our gates as to what goes in, even our skin, what goes into this temple. Because if we can be clean and keep it clean and healthy, which I've done a terrible job over the past several months, now I'm having to clean up again. Sadly, going through everything, it just went back to really bad habits. And it's easy how those bad habits, when you're stretched to a limit, how those bad habits can easily jump on you, and you welcome them back in like an old friend. And now I have to kick them out again. Um, anyway, he's really been impressing upon me with everything that's being created out there now that has proven to be harmful to our temples. We need to avoid as best we can. Um, all right. Love your neighbor as yourself. When you harvest the ripe crops produced in your land, don't harvest all the way to the corners of your field, and don't gather the ears of grain left by your harvesters. Likewise, don't gather the grapes left on the vines or fallen on the ground after the harvest. Leave them for the poor and for the foreigner. He's just such um, a compassionate God that he would leave things for people who can't afford to come without shaming of having to beg. Do not steal from or defraud or lie to each other. Be honorable. Do not swear by my name falsely, which would be profaning the name of your God. I am Adonai. Do not oppress or rob your neighbors. Specifically, you are not to keep back the wages of a hired worker all night until morning. Do not speak a curse against a deaf person or place an obstacle in the way of a blind person. Rather, fear your God. I am Adonai. I don't mean to laugh. It's like, that one seems pretty. Someone would have to be really heartless to do those things. Do not be unjust in judging. Show neither partiality to the poor nor defense to the mighty, but with justice judge your neighbors. That's big. We need to start getting rid of offense and judgment, because that just is the second witness to the adversary who is going before the throne and accusing the accuser. We don't want to be the second witness to the accuser. Do not go around spreading slander among your people, but also don't stand idly by when your neighbor's life is at stake. Do not hate your brother in your heart, but rebuke your neighbor frankly so that you don't carry sin because of him. Interesting. Don't take vengeance on or bear a grudge against any of your people. Rather, love your neighbor as yourself. I am Adonai. Observe my regulations. Don't let your livestock mate with those of other kinds. Once again, mixture. Don't sow your field with two different kinds of grain. Mixture. Don't wear a garment of cloth made with two different kinds of thread. We had this conversation up there this week with my new brother Steve. We talked about, is it mean, it's woven, and this is right. Don't wear a garment of cloth made with two different kinds of thread. Now, we know no wool, no wool and linen mixture, but what are our thoughts about cotton and spandex? Those are two different a cloth made with two different kinds of thread. Anyway, got some really awesome linen clothes too this week. Went thrifting for my trip to Israel. Super excited. If a man has sexual relation with a woman who is a slave intended for another man, and she has neither been redeemed nor given her freedom, there is to be an investigation. They are not to be put to death because she was not free. In reparation, he is to bring a ram as a guilt offering for himself to the entrance of the tent of meeting. Restitution. The Cohen will make atonement for him with the ram of a guilt offering before Adonai for the sin he committed, and he will be forgiven for the sin he committed. Whether you enter the land, okay, so period. When you enter the land and plant various kinds of fruit trees, you are to regard its fruit as forbidden. For 3 years it will be forbidden to you and not eaten. In the 4th year, its fruit will be holy, a praising for Adonai. But in the 5th year, you may eat its fruit, so that it will produce even more for you. I am Adonai, your God. And this comes in with me as I've planted a few citrus seeds. I now have some citrus trees. I have an apple tree. I've got, and I didn't understand this before, my elderberry. And I have an elderberry. I've got pomegranate. I've got a bunch. And this comes in and I did it, So I'm trying now with the ones that I have. So the 4th year is an offering. And then the 5th year, you can eat its fruit. Do not eat anything with blood. Do not practice divination or fortune telling. Do not round your hair at the temples or mar the edges of your beard. That I don't get. Maybe someone can share that with me if you do. Don't cut gashes in your flesh when someone dies or tattoo yourselves. I am Adonai. Do not debase your daughter by making her a prostitute, so that the land will not fall into prostitution and become full of shame. Keep my Shabbats and revere my sanctuary. I am Adonai. I can tell you, keeping Shabbat, I think, was the thing that changed our lives the most and really set them in order. And everything else, sorry, everything else came from there. Do not turn to spirit mediums or sorcerers. Do not seek them out to be defiled by them. I am Adonai, your God. Stand up in the presence of a person with gray hair. Show respect for the old. You are to fear your God. I am Adonai. If a foreigner stays with you in your land, do him no wrong. Do not do him wrong. Rather, treat the foreigner staying with you like a native born among you. You are to love him as yourself. for you are foreigners in the land of Egypt. Adam, I am Adonai your God. Lisa just went over this in one of the counting of the Omar, and I'll have the link to the counting of the Omar down below. You know what? Start it, catch up, binge and catch up. They're only, 20, 30 minute. They're really quick, but life changing because it's daily examination, daily practicing, daily walking it out. Life changing. I highly, highly recommend them. And it goes right along with his cycle. Don't be dishonest when measuring length, weight, or capacity. Rather, use an honest balance scale, honest weights, an honest bushel dry measure, and an honest gallon liquid measure. I am Adonai your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Observe all of my regulations and rulings and do them. I am Adonai. So I'm pretty sure that was it. No, going into 20. Sorry, this is taking longer than usual. Adonai said to Moshe, say to the people of Israel, if someone from the people of Israel or one of the foreigners living in Israel sacrifices one of his children to Molech, he must be put to death. So not just put away from the camp and his people, but he's got to be put to death. The people of the land are to stone him to death. I too will set myself against him and cut him off from his people because he has sacrificed his child to Molech, defiling my sanctuary and profaning my holy name. If the people of the land look the other way when the man sacrifices his child to Molech and fail to put him to death, then I will set myself against him, his family, and everyone who follows him to go fornicating after Molech and cut them off from their people. The person who turns to spirit mediums, and sorcerers to go fornicating after them, I will set myself against him and cut him off from his people. Therefore, consecrate yourself to be you people must be holy because I, Adonai, I am Adonai your God. Observe my regulations and obey them. I am Adonai who set you apart to be holy. A person who curses his father or mother must be put to death. Having cursed his father and mother, his blood is on him. That one. And you know what? It's really interesting. Yeah, that one hit. That one hit because I had to repent there. If a man commits adultery with another man's wife, that is with the wife of a fellow countryman, both adulterer and adulteress must be put to death. The man who goes to bed with his father's wife has disgraced his father sexually, and both of them must be put to death. Their blood is on them. If a man goes to bed with his daughter-in-law, both of them must be put to death. They have committed a perversion, and their blood is on them. If a man goes to bed with a man, as with a woman, both have committed an abomination. They must be put to death. Their blood is on them. If a man marries a woman and her mother, it is depravity. They are to be put to death by fire. Wow, these ones are supposed to be burned alive, both he and them, so that there will not be any depravity among you. If a man has sexual relationship with an animal, he must be put to death, and you are to kill the animal. If a woman approaches an animal and has sexual relationship with it, you are to kill the woman and the animal. Their blood will be on them. If a man takes his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and has sexual relationship with her, and she consents, it is a shameful thing. They are to be cut off publicly. He has had sexual relation with his sister, and he will bear the consequences of their wrongdoing. If a man goes to bed with a woman in her menstrual period and has sexual relationship, he has exposed the source of her blood, and she has exposed the source of her blood. Both of them are to be cut off from the people. You are not to have sexual relation with your mother's sister or your father's sister. A person who does this has had sexual relation with a close relative. They will bear the consequences of their wrongdoing. If a man goes to bed with his uncle's wife, he has disgraced his uncle sexually. They will bear the consequences of their sin and die childless. Huh. If a man takes his brother's wife, it is uncleanness. He has disgraced his brother sexually. They will be childless. So I'm wondering if maybe people who are childless currently are, sterile or not able, if there's some sort of curse on their family line of something that happened back in their family tree. Anyway, you are to observe all of my regulations and rulings and act on them, so that the land to which I am bringing you will not vomit you out. Do not live by the regulations of the nation, which I am expelling ahead of you, because they did all these things, which is why I detest them. He detests these nations because they do these horrible things. But to you, I have said, you will inherit their land. I will give it to you as a possession, the land flowing with milk and honey. I am Adonai your God, who has set you apart from other peoples. Therefore, you are to distinguish between clean and unclean animals and between clean and unclean birds. Do not make yourself detestable with an animal, bird, or reptile that I have set apart for you to regard them as unclean. Rather, you people are to be holy for me, because I, Adonai, am holy, and I have set you apart from the other peoples so that you can belong to me. A man or a woman who is a spirit medium or sorcerer must be put to death. They are to be stoned. They're to stone them to death. Their blood will be on them. Next is Amos. There you are. 9, 7 through 15. People of Israel, you are you any different from the Ethiopians to me? Asks Adonai. Truly, I brought Israel up from Egypt, but I also brought the Philistine from Haftarah and Aram from Kir. Look, the eyes of Adonai Elohim are on the sinful kingdom. I will wipe it off the face of the earth, yet I will not completely destroy the house of Jacob, says Adonai. For when I give the order, I will shake the house of Israel. There among all the Goyim, Gentiles, as one shakes with a sieve, letting no grain fall to the ground. All the sinners among my people who say disaster will never overtake us or confront us will die by the sword. When that day comes, I will rise up the fallen sukkah of David. See, they're going to go into exile, they're going to be destroyed, but he's going to bring them back. And it's so exciting to see. This is what's happening right now. So many people are going back to the land. I will raise up the fallen sukkah of David. I will close up its gaps, rise up its ruins, and rebuild it as it used to be, so that Israel can possess what is left of Edom and all of the nations bearing my name. Yes, says Adonai, who is doing this. The day will come, says Adonai, when the plowman will overtake the reaper, and the one trading grapes, the one sowing seed. Sweet wine will drip down the mountains, and all the hills will flow with it. I will restore the fortunes of my people Israel. They will rebuild and inhabit the ruined cities. They will plant vineyards and drink their wine, cultivate gardens and eat their fruit. And that is happening over there. Oh my gosh, that is happening. The land is coming back to life over there. I will plant them on their own soil, no more to be uprooted from the land which I gave them, says Adonai your God. It's so beautiful. Man, it's so cool because it's what's happening right now. To see, watching these prophecies come to life is just blowing my mind, and it's so exciting. All right, now we're going to go to Mark 12, 28 through 34. There we go, the Great Commandment. One of the Torah teachers came up and heard them engaged in this discussion, and seeing that Yeshua answered them well, he asked them, which is the most important mitzvah, commandment of all of them? And Yeshua answered, the most important is Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you are to love Adonai, your God, with all of your heart, all of your soul, with all of your understanding, and with all of your strength. The second is this: you are to love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other mitzvah greater than these. The Torah teacher said to him, well said, Rabbi, you speak the truth when you say that he is one and that there is no one beside him, and that loving him with one's heart, understanding, and with one's heart, understanding, and strength, and loving one's neighbor as oneself mean more than all the burnt offerings and sacrifices. When Yeshua saw that he responded sensibly, he said to him, you are not far from the kingdom of God. And after that, no one dared put to him another Selah? I don't know, question. All right. Well, Apologize for it. Let me see. Unshare. Stop sharing. There we go. That it lasted a little longer. I'm sure. I'm not exactly sure what time we started, but um, thank you for being part of this journey with me. Thank you for um, reading along or listening along. Father God, bless everyone here. Give them a love and a passion and an overwhelming desire to be in and consume your word daily, to build your word in us so that we can build your kingdom. In Yeshua's name, amen. Be blessed, and y'all willing, I'll see you next week.